The White House withdrawing President Trump's appeals court nominee, Ryan Bounds. It comes amid controversy over his college writings discussing issues like race and sexual assault. Now Democrats are seizing on this, demanding Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh's documents from his time at the Bush White House. Senator Dianne Feinstein tweeted this: Ryan Bounds' racially charged college writings convinced Republicans to oppose his nomination to the Ninth Circuit. How can Republicans possibly argue that Brett Kavanaugh's records from the White House are not relevant to a Supreme Court nomination? But now Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell is reportedly warning that if Democrats don't back down from this demand, he will delay the Kavanaugh vote until right before the midterm elections, keeping vulnerable red state Democrats off the campaign trail and potentially handing liberals a big defeat before that election. Let's bring in Republican Congressman Andy Biggs of the House Judiciary Committee. Great to see you today, sir. So give us the stakes here. What is at stake?
Well, at stake is really, let's face it, a generation or two of U.S. Supreme Court rulings. But moreover, the stakes include how you get there. You remember when Robert Bork was vilified and a highly qualified judge was basically set the standard for how demonic the opposition can be. And I think that's what you're seeing here. These guys, the Democrats, my friends on the other side, they would have opposed anybody, and now they just want to expand it. I think it is actually overreaching on their part, and I just don't think it's relevant to this highly qualified judicial nominee. In
fact, the example you give now is a verb. Don't get borked.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Right. Don't
exactly
get
right.
politically speared. Is the goal to find a perfect candidate, a nominee, perfection?
Well, you know, there was only one perfect individual in the history of the world, and you're not going to find him or her for the United States Supreme Court, I can tell you that. But what this has turned into is political theater, and that's what this is all about. And so the Democrats have really tried to raise the stakes, but here you've got a guy that they voted for, that has 300 written judicial opinions they could comb through, and if they don't like it, they can question him on that. He's been on the bench for 12 years. I mean, it really is no longer about even the perfect candidate. It's only who you can leverage against your political opponent.
Yeah,
and that's the problem.
Specifically why I ask it that way is because then we could be looking at openings forever if we're looking for perfect individuals.
Exactly.
But if you want to strike it politically, are Democrats really in danger here? Because they have messed with the Senate Majority Leader who says he will push this vote to very close to the election.
Well, I mean, he's going to try to use that as a lever. I'm not sure that that works. I would rather actually do it sooner rather than later.
Why?
Let's get because we've got an October 1st Supreme Court new term starting, and if you get him on immediately, you've still put these people on the record, and the voters can see how they vote. But you're also prepared for a very important term of the Supreme Court. So. I don't know what he's thinking. I haven't talked to him, but I know he wants to use it as a political lever right back at him. But I think we just put pedal to the metal and get Judge Kavanaugh nominated or approved.
Let's talk about those documents for just a second, though, and somebody's history and how that plays a role. I mean, I know we want to know as much as we can about an individual, but this person, Kavanaugh, is very different than other candidates. 300 opinions. I think we have a pretty good idea of who he might be.
Well, absolutely right. And I was thinking about this when I'm seeing what the Democrats are asking for. I'm thinking, first of all, we've known this guy on the bench for at least 12 years. This guy has been a prolific writer over the last 10 or 15 years. You know who he is. Do you think he's going to change his spot because he's sitting on the Supreme Court bench? You know, I leave Justice Souter aside, but other than that, we know this guy. We know what he thinks. We know what his judicial philosophy is. We know his outlook on cases. And you know what? If they can't find anything derogatory out of any of those opinions, then I just think they're on a fishing expedition and they're whistling in the wind.
All right, Congressman, always great to have you on the program. Thank you very much. Good to see you.
Good to see you, Harris.